Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Q&A call about how to create and market paid online workshops or webinars. So I have a couple of questions that were sent to me beforehand, but I always want to cover questions from people who are here for sure. So let me just see here. Let's see, Bing's asked a question, but she's not here yet, so I'm going to save that for later. Jean asked a question. Is that Jean Hartman who's here on the line? Great, wonderful. So Jean, I'll take your question first. And so those of you who are here, please feel free to chat. Any questions you have about webinars, marketing them, any logistical things about it, feel free to chat, and I'd love to answer your questions. So let me take Jean's question, which is about taking payment for webinars as well as the coupon code. How do we do that? And so let me first talk about the payment method, because I didn't really go over that in the workshop itself. And I use a system called Acuity Scheduling, which I really like. I use it for both my one-on-one client appointments as well as the workshops, the webinars, as you know. So let me share my screen with you, and then we'll go over whatever you would find useful for regards to Acuity here. So in Acuity, basically, come into payment settings, and in payment settings there is there's a drop-down menu here that says accept payments from clients using etc. whatever you want. And so PayPal is an option. That's what I use. In fact, you could even, this is interesting, I didn't even know this, for each different type of appointment or event, you could even require full payment or deposit percentage or payment is optional. That's kind of cool. I never used that before. Everything's full payment here, except for certain things. But let's see, integrations. You want to click on integrations under business settings, because that's where you go to the payments area. Scroll down to the payments area. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And then this is where you can put in your, let's see here. Wait a second. Payments area, payment settings. Oh, I think I already set it up, so that's why. Oh, PayPal settings. Oh, it's very simple. All you need is your PayPal email address. That's it. PayPal email address, put it in there, click Save Settings, and you're integrated. It's really, really simple and amazing how easy this is. So I love it. Okay, and then Jean's other question is about coupon code. How do we do that? Okay, and prevent other people from sharing the code. Okay, so I'm going to show you how the coupon code works, but I'm going to ask you not to remember any of the coupon codes. Otherwise, you're going to get into all my workshops for free. So under business settings, click on packages and gift certificates. And here's the tricky part. You have to find the coupon tab, click on that. And then I think you have to, my view is a little bit different because I've already set it up, but you have to set up coupons for appointments is what it's called, right? And Acuity, yes, I'm using the paid version of Acuity. I don't know what Acuity is, it's only, what is it, $10 a month or $15 a month? That's it. It's really affordable. Yeah, I love it. 10 a month. Yeah, that's what I use. So $10 a month, and payments are not any additional. You only pay a fee to PayPal, just like normal PayPal transaction, which is 3%, right, per transaction. But Acuity doesn't take any additional funds from that. And so once you set up your coupons, you want to go into the coupon view, and then for my clients, I have this coupon. Click edit, and then 100% discount off, unlimited uses, use for these appointment types. And you just want to make sure once you've set up an appointment or an event type, right, you got to come into the coupon and make sure that that coupon is working for that event. Otherwise, your clients or whoever you invite won't be able to use the coupon. It won't work for them. So forget you ever saw that coupon code, even though this is being recorded. Okay. And the question, of course, is, well, if I share my coupon code with my clients, I trust them not. I'm just clear. It's like, hey, clients, here's the coupon code. And by the way, of course, don't share the coupon code, but please do share the workshop registration page. And I've never had a problem in, over a dozen webinars. Same thing if I invite a colleague to join me for free, I've never had a problem. And you can also check, of course, you can check your registrants whether they use a coupon code or not. So yeah. All right. And Jean, you had the other question is you're hoping to run an online workshop where you are kind of working one-to-one with each person inside the group. And could you put that person up on the large screen for everyone instead of highlighting you? And yes, the answer is yes. So for example, and this is in my Zoom tutorial, so be sure, and I think I emailed you about that, but for those who don't know, I have a video that's half an hour long that goes directly into how I use Zoom. And let me kind of show you where to find that. Okay. So just go to YouTube. It's on YouTube Public, okay? And click on the search box at the top and just type in how to use Zoom, George Kao. And then you will find my 2017. I have two of them on YouTube, but find the one that says 2017. And when you go into this, okay? When you go into this, scroll down, and here's a trick here. Click on Show More, and I have an actual timestamp. I have all these timestamps that show you when I talk about what. And so 8:58, it says how to spotlight someone's video, including your own. And you can literally click on the timestamp and jump to that part of the video. So and you're not hearing my computer. I didn't share my computer sound, but it's cool that it kind of goes right there when you click on the timestamp. Okay, all right, so let's go into, let's see, questions from those of you who are live here. Okay. Okay, so Leslie says, when we join your webinars, I have been paying and then you have been refunding me. Do you want me to use the coupon code? Yes. Leslie, you're supposed to be using the coupon code. Actually, I think sometimes you do. Most of the time you do. No? Okay, I've been refunding you. Yeah, I just been manually doing it. Yeah, no worries. And it's actually pretty easy to do. Let me show you. If you wanted to refund someone in Acuity, what do you do? Right? Let me show you. Second here. Okay. So if you're in Acuity and then you go to, well, typically it shows, you go to your appointment, right? Well, first of all, let me show you exactly how to do it. You go under business settings, you click on appointment types, and then you go to the webinar that you want. So this one, let's say, click edit. It's kind of weird. You have to click edit on the event, and then scroll down until on the right-hand side, you see the classes that you have set up. Right now it's all done, so that's why it's hidden here, but I just click show past classes. And I'll just click on the actual class itself, and this will pull up all the people who registered. So, for example, if I were gonna refund Janet, I would click on Janet's name, and then there's a link here, okay, under payment. If I click on that PayPal link, it'll bring me exactly to her transaction in PayPal, and then I can easily refund it from there. So the little tips and tricks in Acuity. Okay. Claire says, I set up packages in Acuity where people can buy sessions in bulk and then use the coupon code to book each session when they are ready. It's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, some of the Acuity stuff I haven't even looked into, but there's a lot of cool stuff. They have really great customer service. They're always innovating. Like every couple of months, they have a new feature. And so I really just recommend Acuity. I used Schedule Once before this, and Schedule Once is good as well, but Acuity is better, in my opinion. Other people use Time Trade or Calendly or You Can Book Me, and those are good as well, except I don't know if those things can do webinar registration like Acuity can do so easily, right? All right, and Jean says, so when you send a confirmation for someone who has paid you, you send the Zoom link. Yeah, so in Acuity, one of the important things you have to know is when you set up the appointment, once you set up the appointment, you've got to go into email settings, which is under appointments, under business settings, is email settings. And in the email settings, you just have to go to the initial confirmation and you have to click on which appointment type you're doing the confirmation for. So for example, for the webinar one, you just have to go in there and edit what the email will say once someone signs up. And of course, in the email, I have the Zoom link is in there. And also in the reminder emails are up here. I have 3 of them here. I have 96 hours, 24, and 1. And under that, you just, again, put the right drop-down menu and go to the right event and just, make sure the reminder email makes sense and has the Acuity link. So, do I have an Acuity tutorial? You're watching it right now. That's it. No, I don't have one. And the reason why is because it's hard for me to do an Acuity tutorial because it has some private information. Like, I don't want to show people certain things, like accidentally show them client names and things like that. So it's kind of hard for me to do an Acuity tutorial, but I can do it on these kind of private Q&A calls. But Acuity, they have really good help files, and probably if you go to YouTube and search Acuity scheduling tutorial, someone has done it. Okay, and across time zones, yeah, Acuity makes time zones so easy, right? I mean, all of you are around the world, and when you schedule a webinar with me, it tells you what the time zone is, right? And then you just kind of go from there. And the setting is basically in the client scheduling page, customize appearance, and then scroll down, time zone. Okay, here it is. Here's the checkbox. Again, under client scheduling page, customize appearance, scroll down to the time zone. There's a checkbox that says require clients to choose their time zone when booking. So this is super useful for those of you who do webinars like me. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Cindy. I'm glad you found the Zoom tutorial helpful. Good. How do you do that timestamp in YouTube? It's actually, yeah, I'm glad you asked. It's very simple. When you're editing your YouTube video description, you just do, 0:30 means 30 minutes into it. You can even do 0:30, 30 seconds. That's 30 minutes, 30 seconds into something, or 1: actually, I think if your video is less than an hour long, if you do something like 1:30, that means 1 minute, 30 seconds. If it's more than an hour long, you can just do, if it's more than an hour long, you have to clarify, like, something like that is 1 hour, 30 seconds. So 1 hour, 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Sorry, I just probably confused you. It's probably better just to do 0. Whatever, 0: for 0 hours, 30 minutes. No, I'm sorry. No, that's not right. No, this is 30 seconds into it. Sorry, 49 seconds into it, 1 minute into it. Okay. So yeah, it's, so if I wanted to do something that was an hour in, I would do 3 numbers, the first number, the second number, 20 minutes, 49 seconds, and then blah, blah, blah. And that automatically, once you save the YouTube description, it becomes clickable timestamps. It's pretty cool. Okay, and okay, Eric says, can you prevent someone from entering your Zoom? Yes. Okay. Yes. I will show you. In my Zoom tutorial, there is a section where I think I do lock meeting. Let's see here. Hold on a second here. Lock meeting. Yes. Oh, I forgot to showcase that in the tutorial. But basically, in Zoom, if you click on Manage Participants and then click the More inside Manage Participants, there will be a lock meeting option, which then prevents somebody. I actually do this every day. Once a client joins my Zoom call, okay, when they join my Zoom call, then I will click on Manage Participants, click More, and then click lock meeting, so that nobody else can join after that if it's a one-to-one. So Mary O'Brien says, can you use multiple currencies in Acuity, or is it fixed to choosing just one? I don't know. Does anybody who uses Acuity outside of US dollars know that? That's a good question. Okay. Oh, I see. Barbara says, for clients who pay me in pounds, great English pounds, I have them pay me later and just pay directly in PayPal. So that's interesting.
Yes, you can, George. It's right there. It's a drop down.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. I don't know where the drop down is, but
Under payment settings, it says currency right at the top, and then you can click on the arrow, and then it's got.
oh, right. Yes. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Don. Yes. Under business settings, payment settings, currency. There it is. Yeah.
Thanks, George. The thing we need though is that at the time when people are purchasing, that they can choose their local currency rather than just having one option, because we do so much overseas as well as here in Australia and Europe. So
yeah,
but it looks like it may not.
Yeah, I think this is just your base currency. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had anybody, as you know, I have people register for my webinars all over the world, and I haven't had anybody complain about that. So my guess is it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think I'll just put it in US dollars and then leave it at that. That'll be easy, I think.
Or you can, in the appointment settings, okay, in the appointment settings, when you're naming the webinar and in the description area, you could put it directly in there, you know, $25 / you know, whatever it is, you know, AUD or whatever it is. Yeah. So you could put it directly in there. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so Janet says, I'm going to be moving my workshops from Learn It Live to her own site, which is on WordPress. To set this up in WordPress, I would need a landing page for the workshops and a product page for each workshop. Is there anything else? Okay, so what you need basically to set up a workshop webinar is you need the landing page. So for example, you all saw this one. This is called, well, technically, okay, just so I can further confuse you. The term landing page, how many of you heard that term landing page? Okay. Do you know what that means? Here's a little internet marketing quiz. What does landing page mean? That'll be interesting. I'm curious to know what you all think it means. Yeah, okay, so a landing page, because you're going to hear this all the time in marketing speak, right? A landing page is whatever web page you want people to land on from a campaign, which is why it's confusing, because when someone says landing page, are they talking about a home page, or are they talking about a product sales page, or are they talking about an email newsletter opt-in page? It's any of the above. So when someone, so what that means is, basically what it means is when you're doing Facebook advertising, right? And they say, well, what web page you want to send people to? That web page, whatever web page you put into a Facebook ad, is called the landing page. If you put a Facebook post up there, you put a link, that's called a landing page. So landing page is, if you're talking to your marketing person, it just means, for this campaign, where are we having people land? That's all it means. So when it comes to a workshop, what you need is basically, this is the sales page or registration page, which is basically where people buy or register for the workshops, right? So this is the sales page or registration page. The other type of page that Janet was talking about is that you might also want to have a general overall workshops page, which is the listing. Some people call this your events page. How many of you have an events page on your website, right? Yeah, some of you do. So this is your events page. Or for me, I only do online events. So I just have one events page, which is all workshops, and people can click through. And by the way, my next workshop is available. I love your feedback on it. If you want to give me any feedback, so it's this one. I'm going to put it in September workshop, and you can register if you want to. So this is my sales page for the September workshop. As you know, time zones in here, sign up button, everything's in here. You're probably familiar with this. And so besides this and the acuity, right? You just need to make sure you set up. So for example, let me show you, for example, I was just setting this up earlier today. Actually, I set up the Joyful Productivity, the September workshop. I set this up, and then I also, set up the classes, offer a class, and that's when the classes are. And let's see here, Kim, current client, has already signed up, and you can see that she used a certificate coupon code to sign up for that. Whoops. You have to click on her name to be able to see what she did there, so that's cool. And then, let's see here, what else? And then, of course, you have to set up the email settings. So that's it. Oh, you got to set up the Zoom. So watch my Zoom tutorial to figure out how to set up a special link for that particular workshop. I do a different link for each month's workshop. And so here's a little tip here. I basically use the same Zoom link for all 3 events I have each month. My first webinar, my second webinar that month. I do this 9 a.m., 5:30 p.m. thing. So both really have the same Zoom link, which basically means if you sign up for the first one, you can come to the second one for free. I'm starting to do that from now on, just because honestly, the second one is usually better. First one is like my dry run, but the second one is usually better. I have to say the first one is usually more authentic, because I'm like less planned and I'm just kind of going with the flow. And then the second one is more structured, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of time. So the second one is more structured. But and then the Q&A call, it has the same link, because I don't mind if just people come to that using the same link. And yes, mine is a recurring meeting. That's how I set up the same link for multiple events. In Zoom, you could click on the checkbox that says recurring meeting when you set up that Zoom meeting. Okay. All right. So, okay, Claire has a related question about the sales page. George, I noticed you write your copy in third person rather than first person. Okay. Why is that? Right? Since 2009, George Kao has blah, blah, blah. That's actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Do you like it when I talk in third person on my sales pages? I think it makes me sound more professional. That's my thought. Rather than saying, since 2009, I have had a full-time business, it just makes me sound more professional. I mean, this is because a lot of people sign up for my workshops who don't know me that well. And so, also, here's another reason. My testimonials are mostly in third person. George's monthly workshops, rather than your monthly workshops, are relevant, right? So if you enjoy blah, blah, George's, so the testimonials are in third person. Some of them are saying you, but most of them are third person. Yeah, it does make me sound bigger, I guess, or appropriately big. Let's see here. Okay, Ruth says landing pages in WordPress are web pages that don't show the top navigation of the website. So I use Weebly. And so pretty much any web page you create in Weebly has the top nav bar as well as the footer. I haven't found that to be a problem, but yes, technically speaking, a landing page is more professionally looking when it doesn't have the top nav bar following them around. It's not that it's more professional looking, but it's maybe less distracting. But I guess the benefit of having the top nav bar is it's probably a more flexible experience for the visitor, because they can click around and say, well, who is this George Kao? They can click on about and find out more, right? Or, yeah, I want to just contact George, then you contact. So that's the nice part about having the nav bar. But if you are in Weebly and you want to remove the top nav bar and the bottom footer, there is a way of doing that. It's by using Google Optimize, optimize.google.com. Okay. I just want to show you this real quick. Google Optimize, for those who don't know, is a free tool from Google to allow you to split test your websites and web pages. So you can easily create 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 different versions of a web page and see which one people like the best. Meaning I could create 2 different versions of this web page, one that doesn't have the top nav bar and one that does, and see which one gets people to buy the workshop more. Or I can create a separate version of the web page that has a different headline and see which one people buy more. So that's easy in Google Optimize. You just kind of create experiment, just test 1, 2, 3 right now. It's going to be an A/B split test. And which URL would I like to test? Joyful Pro Webinar.html. Click create. And then it just automatically sets it up. Original is this. And then I click on new variant. And then I'll just say variant 1, whatever. Oh, how about no nav bar? Okay, no nav bar. Click add. And then no nav bar. I click row to make changes in the editor and save and continue. Okay. And check this out. It pulls up my website, okay, right inside Google Optimize. And I am able to get rid of things. Like I'm able to get rid of the whole top nav bar. Just get X. I click around until it highlights the entire top nav bar container. I click on it. And then I click on X. No, it didn't work, did it? Hold on. I might have to. Why didn't that work? Hold on a sec here. Gear icon. No, let's see here. Top nav bar. Remove. There it is. I just got rid of it. So you have to right click and then click remove. So then I click save and done. And basically now I'm going to show you what happens. I'm going to say 100% of my people are going to go to 99%. We'll say 99 and 1. Okay, 1%. So that means, and I click save and start experiment. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, I have to do the objectives. Okay, what's my objective? I had to set this up. Register for a workshop. You have to set up Google Goals. It's inside Google Analytics. You set up goals, and then you can come in here and choose which goal you want. And then click save. Okay, start experiment. Start. Okay, so this is really cool. So that means from now on, 99% of the people who go to that page are going to see the no nav bar version. Let me show you. Okay, Joyful Pro Webinar. See, oh, I think I already loaded. Wait a second, let me reload this. Hold on a second here. Let me just see. Somehow it's not working. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I know why this isn't working. I removed the Google Optimize code. I don't want to get too detailed here, but basically I'll just say this. You can either use Google Optimize or you can use UTM tracking codes, but you can't do both. Now, you probably said, George, I have no idea what you just said. That was Greek, right? Okay. UTM tracking is an easy way for you to know, and you can Google this, right? UTM tracking codes is an easy way using Google Analytics for you to know where people came from to your website. So, for example, I'm not going to go into this unless there's real interest, but when I put a link on Facebook, I don't just put a link, georgekao.com or whatever. What I do is I put georgekao.com /UTM equals blah, blah, blah. There's a whole website that helps you create UTM codes. UTM equals blah, blah, UTM source equals Facebook, okay? So then I know when someone comes to my site that they came from Facebook, or not just Facebook, but a particular campaign. UTM is really cool. Like I can say, I want to know if people sign up for my email list from having seen that particular blog post that I put onto Facebook. UTM tracking codes make it easy to do that. And it's free. And it's with Google Analytics. So you can use UTM tracking, or if you use UTM tracking, you can't use Google Optimize and vice versa. So you have to kind of pick one or the other. So right now I'm using UTM tracking. That's why my Google Optimize isn't working. Okay, I just totally lost 98% of you. Okay, let me go back and see what some of the questions are. Thank you, Janet. Yes, that's yeah. And those of you who are in my client group, we can talk more about this because I actually do. Let me actually show you what I mean by this. This is pretty cool. I'll just show you for another minute what UTM tracking looks like. So under conversions, there's something called under behavior, there's something called, where is it? Where the heck? No, acquisition. Yes, I'm sorry. Under acquisition in Google Analytics, there's something called campaigns. If I click on see all campaigns, I'm able to see, look at all these different things. Okay. I'm able to see that I have certain, for example, this particular goal that I have right here is called viewed my coaching services page. I want to know if people came to my website and then went to check out my coaching page. Okay. And from here, I can tell, I can just click on the which UTM codes are working the best to get people to my coaching page based on just even the past few days. Okay. And look, the Monday video I posted got someone to come check out my coaching page. Isn't that interesting? Oh, the workshop I was promoting got people to come check out my coaching page, right? The workshop I promoted about Tad Hargrave on Facebook got people even to come to my website and check out my coaching. Isn't that interesting? It wasn't even to my website, but they decided to come over and check it out anyway. So it's kind of interesting that this is, and then you can even look at like the source. Okay, source, like, okay, Facebook page, my best content email list, blah, 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 Tad Hargrave. I don't know what that means, actually. I think, from my Tad Hargrave campaign. Yeah, anyway, Medium, there's like different things you can track. If I look back, I'm just going to look back the past 30 days and apply this and see if there's anything more interesting information here. Source/Medium, I'm going to use this. So I can kind of get a quick glance like, oh, wow, my content, of course, of people reading my content newsletters, I'm not surprised that they're coming to check out my coaching services page. People coming from my Facebook page, video. So anyway, I to be honest with you, I'm kind of getting started using UTM tracking. I'm not very sophisticated with it yet, but I kind of have a sense of things. Like I do post links to Google Plus and YouTube, and I never see, them converting to anything. So that to me shows that, oh, people on my Google Plus or YouTube, they're not clicking through and really converting. So it kind of gives you a sense when you use UTM tracking, it gives you a sense of where people are coming from. And by the way, this is also a free and easy way to do affiliate tracking. Like if you don't want to buy an affiliate tracking program, you could use UTM tracking and do it for free, because you could set up a goal in Google Analytics and say people who registered for my webinar, people who registered for my services, and UTM tracking will tell you, okay, Barbara sent these 5 people to buy your webinar. Janet sent these, so if you do codes and send it to them, they will, you'll be able to track it. Pretty
George,
cool.
are you able to track the specific individuals that come or just a quantity?
Right. No, thanks for asking. That's probably Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're working on this too.
Yeah.
No, you can only track the aggregate. So that's the only drawback. If you want to track specific individuals, I would do a second layer of tracking, which is when people sign up for your workshop. As you all know, when you sign up for my workshop, I'll show you what I mean. You have to go through a series of questions, right? Like when you click sign up, and then you have to well, how did you find out about this workshop? And by the way, look at this. This is a required response. Those of you who know, if you didn't fill that out, you can't sign up for my workshop. It was required. And I could put in there from Janet Roper, Jeremy Blanchard, blah, 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 blah. I could put all those names in there, and you're going to be forced to tell me where you found out about this. And of course, you're not going to put a random person. You're going to put the person you recognize. So that's a second layer that's easy to do.
Where is that created?
That's created inside
Acuity?
Acuity in intake form questions. Okay, click intake form, and basically I create an intake form. I'm just going to show you. Click on new form, and in new form, you would click on, what is it, drop down list, and then here's like, how did you hear about this webinar? Right, require it, and you could say from, Laura Quill again. And then second response is from Don Olson. Third as many responses as you want, right? Leslie Seidel, John Smith, whatever, blah blah blah. And then click on add drop down. Oh, and it's just warning me that, hey, this form isn't connected to any of your appointments or events. Be sure to connect it. Okay. So basically, when someone signs up for this, they're gonna see all those names. And then to connect it, okay, here's how you connect it. You scroll down until you find your events. I'm still in the form questions area. You scroll down until you find the events, and so I want to connect the form to my online webinars or whatever, and scroll all the way down and click on save form. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want this form to be saved. So just going to delete this form. So I hope that helps. Jeremy, that's an easy way, like, to kind of double check, like, oh, we're going to give them UTM link, and we're going to make sure people have to tell us where they heard of us. And that's kind of a double layer check on, okay. So, okay, let me go back to some of the earlier questions I didn't get to answer. Okay. Thanks everyone for your chats. And by the way, if you see a question in the chat that you know the answer to, or you have some guesses, please feel free to say what you think the answer is. Yes, Anthony, Acuity accepts credit cards. Okay, so if you want people to pay through a credit card, I use PayPal Acuity linking, right? And PayPal takes credit cards. So that's how I do it. But if you want a more elegant way of doing it, Acuity also connects with Stripe. And Stripe, the interface of buying it through Stripe and Acuity is more elegant in terms of putting in credit card numbers. But Stripe is harder to implement. It's a little bit more technical. So given that I am always going the laziest way possible, like literally, if I can't figure out technology within 20 minutes, I give up on it. Like that's my laziness factor. So I was able to figure this stuff out within 20 minutes in terms of Acuity and PayPal. I'm like, oh, there's a field there to put my PayPal email address. That's easy. I'm going to do that. So I haven't had any problem. No one's ever told me, George, I can't figure out how to buy your webinar with a credit card. I just haven't had that problem after hundreds of people attending my webinar. So I trust, the Acuity PayPal integration to take care of it. So Cindy says, in doing Acuity, everyone that registers gets the same confirmation email, which also gives them the same Zoom link. Yes. And in the Acuity confirmation email, you can make it more personalized by saying, hello, %, first name, under %, and that just basically gives them, hi, George, hi, Leslie, instead of whatever it is. And let me show you where to set that. So in Acuity, right, when you're doing the emails, you can make it more customized by putting this. See, hi, %, first name, %. He's like, George, how do you figure that code out? Well, it's click on insert field up here, and you basically just click on whatever you want. Last name. It just inserts it for you, but it's basically %, and then whatever it is. So click on insert field, and it'll tell you what the code is for putting in their very specific date and time of that exact date and time in their time zone. In their time zone. It automatically translates in the email to their time zone. It's pretty cool. And you can even give them a link to edit their intake form, or to view the intake. To edit or view the intake form, or intake. Oh, you can even have specific intake form questions for them to. I've never tried this, so I don't actually know what this means. Maybe it's their response. I'm not sure. You have to play around with that. Okay. Okay, Pamela says, in terms of an online course, she is using Thinkific. Yes, I recommend Thinkific as well. If you're going to be doing online courses, it has all the course management features, student questions, Q&A, and modules, and student login, and all that stuff is in Thinkific. The other competitor that's very popular is called Teachable. Teachable and Thinkific are basically the major players in the market. And just kind of looking at them both, as I have clients have gone into both, Thinkific seems to have more endorsements from my clients than Teachable. However, if you want to do it for free, you could use Weebly. Weebly has a membership feature, and it's very simple. You could put different people into different membership groups, so that, like, okay, Kim is going to be in my Joyful Productivity group, and that means she has access to my Joyful Productivity course, but not my webinar method course, or whatever it may be. I can put people into groups in Weebly, and they will have access to that particular course, or membership area. So Weebly can do that for you as well. Very simple, very simplistically, if you don't want to pay for Thinkific. Right? It's a low budget option to go. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Weebly. I use Weebly for my website and have done so since 2009. They've been extremely reliable, secure. I have never had any spam issues with Weebly, never had any viruses. WordPress, I know everyone loves WordPress, but honestly, I don't understand why everyone loves WordPress. I think everyone loves WordPress because it's so popular and there's a lot of support for it. But the problem with WordPress is it's like hacked every other day. And like you have to install plugins and all. I've never had to install a plugin on Weebly unless I wanted some particular thing, but I have never had to upgrade my security for Weebly. All of that's taken care of for me on the back end. So honestly, unless you are techie, or unless you want to pay for those Weebly support resources, or WordPress support resources, just go with Weebly. It's so much easier. I've built as you know, a full-time business just using Weebly. I'm an online marketing coach. I'm supposed to be on WordPress, but I don't care. I rebel against that. I rebel against the WordPress community, and so I'm going to use Weebly. They're like, you're joking, Weebly? You're so unprofessional. It's like, fine, call me whatever you want. I'm still using Weebly, and it's so easy. And people go, well, what about Wix or Squarespace? Squarespace is hard to use. I never could figure out Squarespace. I know it's easy for some people. It's hard. Like I said, I'm so lazy. I couldn't figure out in 2 minutes. Like, forget Squarespace. It looks prettier. Took me more than 5 minutes to learn. I'm not going to use it. Wix is good, but it doesn't have some of the features that Weebly does. Wix, the problem, a lot of people are going with Wix because Wix has more templates that make it lazy. Like, Wix is very lazy, right? Like, if you're a coach, we have a template for you. Like, they have a template for coaches, a template for doctors, a template for a plumber. I mean, they have a template for everything. Whereas Weebly, you need to use a little bit of your imagination to use some of their default templates to then say, well, I am a coach, or I'm a healer, or how would I want it to look? So it's Wix is a little bit easier to get started, but having used both, I think Weebly is more reliable, and it's smarter. I don't know. I'm not even sure how to describe it. There's some things about Wix that I really don't like. Like, the URLs are really weird. Like, the URLs have a hashtag in them that are automated. Anyway, it's weird. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about websites. Yeah, Ruth says we should request that Zoom creates a button for lock meeting to make it easier. Yeah, Zoom is pretty responsive to feedback. So if 3 people contact Zoom, says, please make it easier to lock meetings, we could probably vote it in. They're pretty awesome. I'm kind of backlogged on the question, so let me just see here. I'm taking a look. Okay, I'm just going to. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna answer one question that was pre-posted, And then I'm going to answer questions just directly from those of you who want to unmute your lines. Okay, so a pre-posted question from Bings says, for someone who doesn't have a big client base yet, at which stage would you recommend starting to do webinars? And my guess is that probably several of you have that same question. So that's why I'm going to share this. So I think that it's almost I recommend starting doing webinars as soon as possible. Now you might say, well, George, I don't have anybody to promote it to. I don't have an email list. But what you do have is you have friends and colleagues. And it's good in the beginning if even just 2 friends show up to a webinar you do. I would say 2 is the minimum. Okay, if you're only going to get 1 friend to show up, that's called a one-on-one session, right? But if 2 people show up, where there's 2 or more who gather in my name, I call that a webinar. Okay, so if you can get 2 friends or colleagues to say, you know what, this sounds really interesting, I'll be there, start doing webinars and give them a coupon code. So set things up like I've been teaching you on Acuity, make a price, and then set up a coupon code and give that registration link as well as the coupon code to your friends and your colleagues. Email them privately. Hey, Diane, I'm getting excited about starting my very first webinar. Here's the link to sign up. It's $25, but you're a friend of mine, so I'm going to give you a discount code that gets you in for free. Please use this discount code. I would be grateful if you attended, if you're interested, of course. But if you're interested, please reply and let me know that you will be there so I can be sure to count you in, and be sure to sign up, and Diane, please feel free to send the registration link on to any other friends or colleagues you think would value this. Just don't use the coupon code. Or, really I would say for your first 2 or 3 webinars, I think you should just let everyone attend for free, even though you put a price on it. So Diane, this is my first webinar. This is my second this is my third webinar. I'm happy for you to give the coupon code to your friends. It's $25, it's $50, but you can give the benefit to your friends to attend for free. And Diane might send it on to like 2 or 3 people, right? And one of them might show up. And if you do that to 15 of your friends, you're probably going to get, with your 15 friends and whoever they send it to, you'll probably get at least 5 people showing up. It's great practice. You need to practice probably at least 3 to 5 times before you start getting comfortable enough to share it more widely. And once you get comfortable sharing it more widely, do the same thing, email privately your friends and your family and your colleagues, giving them the registration link and the coupon code again. But now this time say, please don't send the coupon code. I want people to buy it if they're really wanting to be there. And then also post it on your Facebook profile, your timeline. And so all of us, like you might say, well, I don't have a client base, but yes, you have friends, you have colleagues, you have family members, and you have a Facebook audience or a Twitter audience or wherever you do your social media, a LinkedIn audience. All of us can start doing webinars now, unless you don't have any social media and you have no friends and no family and no colleagues. Then you got to start with content marketing, right? Or you could do Facebook boosted posts, right, to do advertising. But yes, I think all of us need to start, because I will tell you, one of the magic miracles of doing webinars is that as you start doing different topics, right, you start to actually test in the market what the market wants from you. It's one thing to create a one-to-one service and go, hey, how come people aren't signing up for my one-to-one services? Well, it's because your one-to-one service covers so many different things that it's hard for the market to tell you, George, your one-to-one service says you can take care of 5 different problems for people, or you can walk people through 10 different processes. But the market is not going to tell you, George, if nobody's signing up, they're not telling you why, right? Whereas with webinars, you can test, as you know I do, I test 12 topics a year. actually technically 10, because I take 2 months off for doing various things. But I get to test 10 different topics a year. And then the market will tell me which ones they want the most. It's very clear. You just look at the sign-up numbers. Simplest way to actually test the market. Now you say, well, George, don't you teach us to test the market through content? Yes. You also test the market by posting things on Facebook and seeing what gets engagement, right? Just your knowledge, your videos or your blog posts, you test it. But the market is only telling you what they're interested in, but not really telling you what they would buy. And webinars are a great way to test the market, to see what they actually would take out their wallet and say, this interests me enough to pay you money for it. Then you can look back on your 10 different webinar topics and go, isn't that interesting? 2 of them got no signups at all. One of them got 5 signups and one of them got 15 signups. Wow, isn't that interesting? Okay, great. I'm going to keep those 2 that got signups. I'm going to keep doing those. And I'm going to do 2 more that are kind of similar-ish topics. And maybe I'll experiment with 2 more that are completely wild, or not wild, but completely different topics from what I've done before that are still related to the things that I talk about. So I hope that's helpful. So yeah, it's a really great way to test. Oh, I was going to say, the other miracle about doing webinars is that it makes it easier for you to do collaborations with other people. It's easier now. Like, I was just thinking about this. Like, I was just, at this point in my business, I am now a generalist. And that's dangerous. I am a generalist business / marketing / productivity coach. And that's dangerous. The reason I'd say it's dangerous is because as a generalist, I have set myself up as a competition to every specialist out there and every generalist out there. Not if you understand what I'm talking about, right? I do Facebook marketing webinars, which means I have now set myself up in competition with every Facebook expert out there. I do webinars on how to create content. I have now set myself up as a competitor to all the content marketing experts. I teach productivity. I've now set myself up as a competitor to all time management experts out there, right? So I don't recommend, if you are needing business right now and needing clients, being a generalist is hard. Because online, and like if you're in a small town, right? If you're in a small town, you need to be the handyman, right? Because in a small town, everybody, you can't be like, I only work on this section of the pipe. In a small town, you don't have enough business. The internet is a big town. And in a big town, you can work on a certain section of a plumbing pipe and you will have plenty of business. And in fact, you'll have less competition and you'll have more referrals, because you're like, all the generalist plumbers are going to send people when they don't know how to fix that one section of the pipe. You see what I mean? For me, I am now a generalist plumber. And so I'm setting myself up against the competition, whatever. But I can do that because I have enough business and I now have enough of a brand where people, my generalism is now an advantage at this stage of my business. But in the beginning, I was a specialist about LinkedIn. That's how I started my business. I got really drilled. I said, how can professional life coaches use LinkedIn to grow? That was how I started. Really, really specific. And then people said, George, you're really good at webinars. Can you add that to your mix? All right, fine. How can professional coaches and consultants and healers use webinars? And so that was my second really specialized thing. And then, of course, people started asking me for more and more and more. And then eventually I became a generalist, right? Yesterday, I was looking at a fellow colleague who was also a generalist. And I'm like, gosh, I really would like to be able to somehow partner with her, but I don't want her to feel competitive. You see what I mean? Like, I don't want her to feel threatened by what I do. So the way I can approach her then is not, hey, so-and-so, can you promote me? No, I'm not going to promote you, George, because I do the exact same things you do. Or I do some of the things you do, I do as well. No, I'm not going to promote you. But I could say, hey, I noticed that you don't really teach a particular webinar about how to do content marketing. I know you teach other things, which I also teach. Maybe if you're interested and you like what I do, you can share my content marketing webinar with your audience, and I could share your how to do, branding webinar with my audience. Or even you're really good at Facebook too. So maybe I can share your perspective on Facebook with my audience, even though I talk about that. But you see, like webinars create that opportunity for you to plug in to some other partner's gap in their content. Not if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's I love that about webinars. And the third benefit of webinars, as you know, maybe is as you do a bunch of webinars, you can turn that into an online course, because a webinar, you can think of it as a module or a part of a module of an online course. So that's why I say that there's no reason why, if you enjoy teaching, if you have a message to share, there's no reason why you shouldn't start doing webinars, because it's just so much is beneficial. Okay. All right. I know you all have been having a great conversation inside the Zoom, so this is great. Keep talking.
George, you're a specialist because you're a specialist in spiritual business.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that I would say that I'm a generalist with spiritual values. Maybe that kind of colors the way I do things to make it unique enough that I'm just not another business coach. But yes, I think that you can be a generalist, but then if you fully bring your values and your personality to it, you are unique. And you've got to be careful that other potential partners might feel competitive to you. So that's the problem, right? So how can you be a generalist? How can you stay as a generalist and still partner, right? Like I said, be specific about what you want your partner to promote, a specific webinar that makes them feel, oh, this is not competitive to me. That's how you do it, right? Okay, I'm just going to now open up the lines. I mean, if you have a question, go ahead and repost it at the bottom of the chat, or you can unmute your line and let's have an open-ended conversation about anything webinar related, marketing related. Okay, Jeremy, thank you. So Jeremy says, how would you recommend designing the follow-up to an online workshop to effectively invite people into an in-person workshop? We're considering doing the following. A short description of the course at the end of the work. So they're going to do an online workshop. And at the end of the online workshop, they're going to take how many minutes? 5 or 10 minutes, right? 5 or 10 minutes to describe the in-person course?
Correct.
Okay. And then also give the webinar participants an invitation to talk with them, meaning like a complimentary call.
Yep.
Exploratory call. And then invitations to get notifications about future in-person workshops if they're interested, but not right now. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't see any problem with it, actually. I mean, the way I've described it, folks, do you have any suggestions? Think about your own experience. Have you attended an online webinar or teleseminar that was effectively have you attended any teleseminars or webinars that effectively got you to attend an in-person course or seminar? And if so, how did they do it? And I'm just going to pause to let you think about it. And just feel free to chat that in.
Yes, but I know better now. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe one of the possible takeaways from this conversation, based on the responses so far, is that we need to do an online workshop first, like a brief or like online program first, like multi-week program of some sort, and that's like an interim step where we've built enough trust before they come to
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
in-person.
Yeah. I have noticed just from conversations with various partners that it has gotten increasingly harder over the last 10 to 15 years to get people showing up to an in-person thing. It's just gotten harder for everybody, including Tony Robbins and Eckhart Tolle or whatever. One of you was telling me this. How many of you have heard of Charles Eisenstein? Raise your hand. Okay, well, some of you. Charles Eisenstein is a very popular figure in the sort of sustainable economy industry or sort of area of knowledge, which some of us are interested in. And he's famous. Like he's like everyone in our circle. Oh yeah, Charles Eisenstein. He's like a guru to a lot of us. And I just heard that recently he did an event at a very popular European retreat center, like that has big names. And there were like 30 people in the room, and it was like it looked sparse. Yeah, it was like it should have been hundreds, and there was like 30 to 50 people in the room. Like this is not unusual. And actually, you know what, Cindy, you attend a bunch of in-person events. Have you noticed that it's gotten more sparse? I don't know. Maybe you haven't. Maybe they do a great job marketing their stuff. Oh yeah, Cindy wrote here. Go ahead.
It depends on the person. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people. But Hay House used to have quite a number of events, and they would be packed to the ground. They're cutting those down. And what I've been seeing is that people still have conferences, but they seem to be moving them to being live streaming conferences.
Okay.
So that people can have a sample of a whole bunch of people. And then as far as individual people that we want to see, it's
Cindy, I'm sorry. You're cutting out a lot, unfortunately.
Is that any better?
No, I think it's the internet.
No? Okay.
So thanks. I'll just have you type in there. Thank you. So anyway, long story short, yes, Jeremy, if I were running your business, I would at first do everything I can to create online offerings. And then when there's enough interest from a particular local group of your online offerings, then it makes sense to like actually privately kind of, recruit people to the input. Like if I had enough clients in the Bay Area, right, I would privately email my Bay Area clients. It's like, hey, Ruth, like if I did this in-person event on this month, would you realistically want to show up, right? And then she's already shaking her head, right? So she's saving me some effort there. But right. You know what I mean? Like I would personally recruit, like if I get 15 or 10 or 15 clients saying yes, I would be there, then I would promote it. Of course, I would make sure I buy local Facebook ads, right. But of course I would email the list and do a special, I would email the whole list, and I would do a special email using, geo-targeting on my email. Like MailChimp has geo-targeting. They could tell you, right, just email the Bay Area people, because MailChimp tracks that information. I don't know if you guys know, whenever you open an email from me on MailChimp tracks where you are in the world. I know, big brother. I haven't used geo-targeting, but it's pretty useful to be able to email just your Bay Area people, or just your New York people, or just your Australians, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's good feedback, because I think our whole business model for 15 years has been around in-person courses and right. A series of them that progress on top of each other. And so it's kind of interesting to merge your online marketing centric approach with that approach and try and figure out where they fit and or don't. So.
Well, and if you're wanting to go there faster, I could see doing webinars, but doing Facebook boosts specifically to particular locations that you where the in-person event's going to be. And so then ideally you would have a webinar of, let's say you have a webinar of 50 people showing up and 30 of them are Bay Area people. then you're like, okay, cool. Like we can actually make a reasonable invitation to this webinar group, and they won't feel like, what, you want me to travel from Australia? Kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, because really the traveling is one of the biggest barriers, right, for people. But also not just traveling, but also just you want me to take 3 days out of my life, which means stopping my my childcare, and like I have to figure that out. I got to figure out where to put Buddy, my dog, like yeah. So the in-person has all those different barriers.
Cool.
But you know what? Actually, Mary O'Brien, check out her website, The Path of Czar, DZAR. You can Google it, The Path of Czar. She does in-person events a lot, and she's had traveling. If you are willing to travel, right? If you're happy to travel, it's much easier to do in-person events, because especially if you've had like a critical mass of students or clients in the Fort Lauderdale area or the XYZ area, then you can ask them, hey, would you guys be willing to bring together 10 of your friends and colleagues? If so, I'll show up, right? Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure. I am so lazy, Eric. I'll say this. I think all of us are hardworking in certain respects and lazy in other respects. Some of you are really hardworking, like you're willing to travel. I'm like, and you're willing to go outside your home, right? Like I can't be bothered to even step outside my home unless it's for a dog walk, right? So yeah. So Eric, that's one of your strengths. Like if you love traveling, you can actually, start to recruit people from various locations and do in-person events there. I'm minimalist. True. Yeah. So any other questions as you think about, oh, wait, I think I missed a question earlier that was posted. Okay. Jason says, your video this morning about just doing it instead of perfection and getting more training. You said that the homepage, about us page, product pages are a focus. What pages? Okay. So the video I did put up on my Facebook page this morning was talking about how so many of us are in preparation mode. We're preparing to launch our business. We're preparing to finally do our first webinar. We're preparing to post more content, because first we have to totally update our website first, right? And I was just talking about how you don't need to totally update your website first. You don't. All you need to do is update your about page, your home page, and whatever landing page you want people to go to for that campaign. 3 pages. Just update those 3 pages and you are ready to launch, because nobody else is going to go to the other web pages. I mean, not nobody, but so few, like 0.1% will look at the other parts of your website. Everyone just goes to home, everyone goes to about, and everyone goes to, work with me. Maybe they go to testimonials, but it's like home, about, testimonials. Maybe if you have a separate page for that. I don't have a separate page for that. I just put testimonials everywhere on my site, just kind of interweave them in. And then the page that you're promoting, like your webinar or your services or your event, stop thinking you have to update the whole site. And trust me, my website, in my opinion, is kind of a mess right now. Like I could spend a year just completely updating my website, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to update, as you saw, the website for September's, workshop. And my homepage is kind of sucky. I don't care. I'm too lazy. I just don't have the energy right now to update my homepage. My about page has an old story. I don't have time to update that right now. So I just keep moving. So I hope you will kind of look at me as like the minimalist example. Like if George doesn't have to update his website, maybe I don't either. But look, George gets so much more traffic than I do, and even he is not updating his website, right? So how much less do I need to update my website? You don't. Just do the page that you want to send people to, and update the homepage just minimally. Like update what is absolutely incorrect information. The only other reason why you need to update your website is if several people have said, Jason, this page is wrong. Right? If nobody has said that, you don't need to update your website. Right? So let that be a pep talk for you. Okay, so Claire asked, how do you recommend approaching niche mates, cold contacts to promote your specific webinar? I feel this is clunky in my system at the moment. Okay, sorry, someone's at the door. It's either some mail package or Jehovah's Witness. Either way, I can go look at them later. Sometimes Jehovah's Witness comes by, I'm like, man, I so wish I could just sit down with you for an hour and talk about stuff right now, but I don't have time. Because they're so earnest, right? And they give you these beautiful little pamphlets like, thank you for doing what you do. I bless you. Okay. All right. So how do we, okay. Let's actually, this is good. While we're all here, think about, okay, for those of you who don't know Claire, okay, how would you want Claire to approach you about promoting one of her webinars? I'm just going to pause and ask you that question. I'd love for you to type it in. How would you imagine Claire approaching you in a way that you go, yeah, I would actually love to promote this to my audience. It would be a great fit, and I'm glad you told me about it. Yeah, Eric is so hot right now. That's right. Reading a chat. I'm not sure that's what she meant, but I'll say that. Thank you. Yes, please go ahead and type in how would you imagine Claire approaching you in a way that you go, you know what? Yeah, thank you for approaching me. Yes, this is great. Or you can think about somebody else who has approached you cold, like they barely know you. Maybe you've seen them on Facebook once. I don't know. But how did they inspire you to say yes? Thank you. Great. And so for those of you who are saying that it needs to be a win-win and the offer needs to work for both of us, say more. What would make the offer a win-win? Or win for you and your audience and really work for you? Awesome. So Claire, you've got some great answers here. I mean, I don't know what else I would add to this, to be honest. I think it's amazing. I'm going to make sure that the chat transcript is also saved so that you all can revisit this again. So let me share with you what my thoughts are about this, how it's been working. Of course, the warmer the contact, the more likely it's going to happen. So we need to start there first, right? So if you haven't done this recently, everybody, I recommend that you consider this. Post on your social media, on your Facebook or wherever you're active, this message. Hey friends, I'm looking to get the word out about my webinar on XYZ topic. It is perfect for audiences who are struggling with XYZ. Can you think of somebody who has, well, you know, here's the thing, like in the beginning, you don't need somebody with a 15,000 person email list, right? Like you just want somebody who can bring you 5 to 10 people to attend the webinar, which can literally be somebody who even doesn't have an email list, but somebody who's going to recruit, send a message to 25 of her friends, and 5 of them end up showing up on the webinar. Because, by the way, another thing I forgot to say about webinars are a great way to bring you one-to-one clients. Once someone experiences a webinar, at the end, you can make an offer, an invitation to say, hey, for those of you who enjoyed this experience and would like to go deeper with me, who would like to experience more with me, please feel free to get in touch or click on this link or whatever. Let's set up a free call where you get to experience me one-to-one. How does that sound? Okay. So that's a great way. Okay. So yeah, like, when was the last time, I'm not saying just Claire, but any of you posted on your social media saying, I'm looking for help getting the word out about XYZ. It's perfect for this type of person. Can you think of somebody who either has an audience of XYZ people or simply has a couple of, a bunch of friends who are like that? Great. And so Mary's follow-up question. So if you ask them to share, would you offer them a free spot in exchange? Yes. Okay. So let's talk about the win-win-win. What I would do in this case. What I always do is let me actually share an actual email that I sent to somebody recently who said, yes, let's actually talk about this. Let's see here. Why is it not? Shoot. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I just, for some reason, I think I sent them a message through their website, so that's why that message isn't in my email. Let me find one more. Okay. I know who. Okay. Okay. So let me show you what I said here. Actually, Robert Middleton and I are still talking it out. But this same message worked with several other people. So the subject line is, do you recommend a Facebook marketing course? I think that's actually kind of direct. I think going forward, I might actually say the subject line should be something like potential collaboration ? Potential collaboration ? Maybe. But then again, if I saw that and I opened it and it was a pitch for me promoting something, I might get a little bit annoyed, which is why I'm very specific. Like, hey, if you look at the subject line and you're not happy with it, don't open it, and don't, it's okay, right? So I said this. Let me expand the page a little bit here. I said, hey, it's been a while since we've connected, blah, blah, blah. And look at this. The first line or two, or first paragraph or two, are pretty specific to that person. So point number 1, don't send a generic email to people. Let me show you. Let me show you a generic email I received, which turned out to be kind of scammy. Look at this. Let's connect, right? Really friendly email, right? Oh, cool. Hi, George. And then it's weird that there's even space here. It's almost like it's so templated. Forgot to take out the space. I found your info on Facebook and thought it wouldn't hurt to reach out. Quick intro. I am blah, blah, blah. This, I should have known, right? This email has nothing personal. She really probably didn't even look at what I do, except, oh, hey, she might be able to promote me, right? And then she kind of, our audience is over 300,000, blah, blah, blah. We could do some straight synergy. It turns out after I got on the phone with her, she wants me to promote their thing first. And then if I do really well with her promotion, I will go into the running for a whole group of JVs who might be promoted by them, maybe. It's all so like, oh my God, I have to give so much value to them first before they'll even consider. But anyway, so that wasn't cool. But let's go back here. I'm writing to see if you currently recommend blah, blah, blah resource to your people right now. Okay. So I kind of start talking about why this is so great. And look, I put a nice image of testimonials right there about the thing that I want them to promote. And then, I even give them a link. It doesn't matter. It's a this and this. It's a zero upsell. It's really great. If you're interested, we would split it, blah, blah, blah. I even say if we get more than 30 sales, you get to keep 80% above that. But basically, if I get 30 sales at even $30 and split it 50%, basically, if I get $15 times 30, $15 times 30 registrants, that's enough for me to cover the cost of my time and the cost of my virtual assistant's time to process the post-workshop stuff. So I basically, when I think of a collaboration, I don't think, how much money can I make here? I think, what's the minimum I need to make to feel good about it? Because really, the fact that they're sending new people to me is itself the biggest value. Does that make sense? Like, I couldn't have reached those people with that kind of trust except for the fact that they're endorsing me. That's a big deal. So I'm happy to give them, I'm really even happy to give them 100% of sales above that, but I'll just say 80%. We do more than 30, you get to keep 80%. I take care of everything, right? You don't even have, look at this. You don't even have to be there. Like, I make it so easy for them to like, okay, is this topic interesting? Is it competitive to me? No, it's not competitive. Yes, it's interesting to me and my audience. Wow, they're going to give me so much. Like, they're really bending, they're really giving me more value than I'm even giving them in some ways, right? Besides splitting the revenue, I would be happy to do an hour. So to Mary, to answer your question, absolutely, they of course would be able to attend for free. And not only that, I'm going to give them a hour-long free consult on that very topic. So Mary, for you, it might be an hour-long, healing, or I don't know if you do channeling sessions, but like a real. Not only can they be there, I'm going to do something special for you, right? So, is that helpful? Jason says, how many of these do you send out a month? I have been trying to really starting sort of last month, I kind of woke up to, man, I'm going to want to really do joint ventures again. So it took me a while to kind of get back into the rhythm. But this month I've reached out to, I think, 10, and I don't think that's enough. I think, so basically every week, my goal is to try to reach out every week, reach out to like 3 to 5 people who are warm or could be introduced to me by a fellow colleague, or I would reach out cold. Every week I could probably do 10 every week. But that just means that I'm researching them a little bit and trying to come up with something customized before I reach out. So, because basically I've reached out to 10 thus far, and I've gotten 3 that are, and these are, most of the 10 are warm-ish, and 3 out of 10 have either said yes or let's talk about it. If I'm doing cold, I'm expecting I reach out to 25, I might get a 1 to 5 who say, let's talk about it. So yeah, I'm happy to reach out to 25 and get a 1 maybe. So, but every one that says yes introduces you to potentially dozens of people or hundreds of people. It's such a better use of time, in my opinion, than direct outreach for clients. Instead of reaching out to say, hey, John, hey, Mary, would you, become my client? It's better to say, hey, John, hey, Mary, would you promote me to your list? Right? So, okay, how do we find cold leads for joint ventures, right? Jason, let's actually use your example. So Jason is a neurolinguistic programming expert. So my thought, if I were running Jason's business, what I would say is, okay, which fellow experts might want to bring an NLP webinar to their audience? and I would brainstorm, or I would ask some friends to help me brainstorm. So friends, type in there which audiences might actually want to bring an NLP expert to their audience. What type of expert, what type of blog, what type of Facebook group, what type of newsletter. Okay, yeah, business coaches, exactly, right? Anyone into sales and marketing, right? Life coaches, yeah, totally. Great. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to facilitate something right after this question where we get to think about potential partnering folks who are here. So, okay, so let's just first finish this example and then we'll go into that one. Okay, so let's say life coaches, okay? All right. So what I would do is I would go to, first of all, I would go to LinkedIn, right? I'll just show you a couple of places, right? So LinkedIn, and I would search life coaches. I press enter, okay? And then I click on groups up here, groups. After I'm on the search results page in LinkedIn, I click on groups. And then all of these are potential groups. So International Coach Federation, I know for a fact that they're really, really, they get a lot of pitches, so they're really reluctant to bring anybody to their audience who isn't already ICF certified and all that stuff. So I would skip them. This one looks doable. Okay, I click through here. 68,000 members. A LinkedIn group owner is able to send a mass email to all the group members. That's one of the features of owning a LinkedIn group. You can, unlike Facebook groups, a Facebook group owner cannot send a mass email to their group owners or the group members. A LinkedIn group owner can. Okay, so, and of course, not all LinkedIn group members are still subscribed to the LinkedIn group owner announcements, but in my experience, something like 70 to 80% are. So even if we were conservative and say 68,000 times 70%, that means whatever, 68. That means about 40. That means the owner of this group can send an email to about 47,000 people. So what I do now is I kind of find the owner of the group. So what I do is I click on the numbers of members. Just if you click on the number of members, it'll bring you to a page. Oh, this is weird. I've already joined the group, right? So that's why it looks like this. And then I click admins on the left. Now this is telling me who the group owner is. So I would click on E.G. Sebastian. I actually tried reaching out to him just with one quick message. He never responded. But then later I looked at some of his YouTube videos and like, oh man, if he asked me to promote him, I have to say no because I don't like his style. So that's one of the things I have to take in consideration. If I ask someone to promote me, I have to be willing to consider promoting them. And like, I have to be okay with their style. I'm not okay with this guy's style. But if you can get over that, you might want to approach E.G. Sebastian. Now, what I would not do, okay, so what I would do, I would look to see if there's anything I feel I can connect with E.G. Sebastian on personally, like something to say, hey, I also went to that school, or hey, I also am really passionate about, Chihuahuas or whatever it may be. Like you got to kind of look at something that you connect with him on that's not competitive. So maybe look at everything on his profile, right? Like look at his posts, E.G. Sebastian's articles. You click on his articles, click on his activity, and see what he's been liking, right? In LinkedIn, you can see what he's liked. Once this pulls up, this is really acting slowly right now, so I'm not going to wait for it. I'm just going to go back to his profile. If you scroll down all the way at the bottom of his profile, it'll tell you what his interests are. So you can click See All, and you see, what influencer he follows, because he's interested in these three guys. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm also into Tony Robbins. Everybody's into Tony Robbins. Hey, I also like Deepak. Everybody's into Deepak Chopra. You can't do that. You got to say something really unique, right? I don't know why he's following these companies. I think he's following these companies because he probably wants them as clients, so that wouldn't be awkward. It's like, yeah, I'm also interested in, College of Charleston or whatever, Coldwell Banker. I don't know. Groups, you can kind of get a sense of his interest from the groups. So I'm not really seeing anything here. So what else I would do is I would go to his website, read some of his blog posts and see what I can connect with him on. Then I would send him a message to say, hey, EG, really, really, I found you. I'm really impressed by what you've done on LinkedIn with your group. By the way, I'm also an alum of this, or I'm also really into that. And I just wondered, have you ever brought an NLP expert to your audience? Because I bet your audience of coaches would really appreciate learning NLP, right? Blah, blah, blah. So that's what I would do. So this is one place to find people. The other place to find people would be, I'm going to search live coach. Okay, search live coach, press enter. And I'm going to look at people now. Okay. Oh, you know what I would do actually, Jason? This is interesting. NLP, I'm going to press enter, okay? And I'm going to click on jobs. Because if for some reason they are hiring somebody who has NLP expertise, they probably would be interested in hiring a consultant or a contractor in the meantime to fill in that role or to consult with them on that. So that might be interesting for some of you to look at. I mean, I don't know about your expertise, whether people are doing jobs for that, but, or new linguistic pronouns even, okay, 0. So that's a little bit too specific. Let me see here. Hey, maybe they're finding a real estate agent for that. No, I wouldn't. No, they're trying to sell you on something. But okay, let's look at life coaches. Okay. And what would I look for? Life coach. Okay. What I'm looking for are people with a lot of shared connections. You see this? If somebody has a lot of, look at this, wow, 92. So if somebody has a lot of shared connections, that means they probably have a pretty large network. If someone only has a few shared connections, they have a relatively smaller network. Not necessarily. If they're a podcaster, okay, they're podcasters. So they probably have somewhat of an audience. It might be worth reaching out to. Okay. Yeah. Jason, yeah, I would try that message. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. Okay. Some of you might go, my God, isn't he being approached every day with this message? I have a couple of large LinkedIn groups myself. I have a LinkedIn group of career coaches with 12,000 members. Nobody. Yeah. Let me I want you to look me in the eye on this. Nobody in the course of my 10 years of having that LinkedIn group has ever approached me about sending something to my LinkedIn group. I am honestly baffled. I really, really don't know why that is. I don't know why this is. I mean, I'm really honestly surprised. Why is that? Why? Isn't this a duh strategy? No, I guess it's not a duh strategy because no one's doing it. But I have had people approach me, and let me show you some of these messages I get on LinkedIn, right? I have had people approach me on LinkedIn. Let me just see here. Okay, look at this. Hello, George. I'm putting together a team of global ambassadors for our wearable tech. May I send you a 2-minute overview? Okay, that's actually not so bad. May I send you a 2-minute overview? That's really short. But okay, look at this message. What's missing here? Number one, he is sending the same message to 50,000 people without caring about who I am. He doesn't care about me. Number two, he has no idea if I'm interested in wearable tech. What the hell is that? Sorry, my language, right? Three, first, he didn't even get past the first hurdle. He doesn't even connect with me. George, I think Buddy is cute. Whatever. That's too generic, right? But something personal. Come on, people. Are you nuts? People are nuts. They approach people without any sort of care. But this is the typical message I get on LinkedIn. Okay, let me show you another one. I usually mark them as spam, but so let's see. Okay, let me see if I can find actually another one I get. First of all, I get relatively few, right? And congrats on your work anniversary. Here's another LinkedIn tip. Please do not send congrats on your work anniversary to people because they get like 100 of those. Okay. No. Okay, look at this. Great to be connected with you on LinkedIn. But I know nothing about you, George, and I don't care about you. But what I am trying to do is try to get you to do something for me. Do you just, that's the basic way people approach people online. And it is terrible, right? Like, would you be interested in chatting so I can sell you something? Like, come on, people, right? I'm just honestly baffled. Like, are you as baffled as me how people can be so clueless? But now that you see my reaction, hopefully I've transmitted something to you where you can, even if you do a little bit more than that guy, and both of these guys, a little bit more, you're already standing out. Do you see how easy it is to stand out as a caring person online? It is so easy, incredibly easy. But number one, right? Number one, nobody's reaching out to anybody else. Like, so, and number two, the people who are reaching out are borderline spammers. That's it. So if you even take 25% of what I've said, you already are surpassing everybody. First of all, you're reaching out. Number two, you're not a spammer because you actually care enough to say something about them, right? Okay. All right. So, I've only talked about LinkedIn because I feel like even that enough. Oh, I should say, how do you contact them? I wouldn't contact them through LinkedIn. So that's a big tip. Don't contact them through the LinkedIn inbox because most people, how many of you don't check your LinkedIn inbox? All of us, right? So what you do is you Google them, you find their website, and you contact them through their website, or if they have an email address, you contact them through there. If you don't hear back, follow up with them on Facebook through Facebook messaging. I probably wouldn't contact them as an initial, I mean, if you're impatient like me, I contact people through Facebook messaging like impatiently, but it's typically not the best result. I would say do it through email first. Because the problem with Facebook messaging is they could mark your message as spam, and even just 2 or 3 people marking your Facebook message as spam will get Facebook, warning you. So, yeah. Okay. So anything else, people? We're just about at the end of our time together. All right. Cindy says, switching gears, how far ahead of a webinar is best for sending out the first sign-up email? I have your timeline checklist. It's a little confusing. Okay. So let's actually go to my timeline checklist, and then I'll make sure it's clear from there. Template. Okay. Okay. So basically, the bolded row is where the first kind of announcement goes out, and as you can see, the announcement is actually just going out at this stage. It's just going out to my clients. I'm giving them the coupon code, and you can add in friends and colleagues, giving them the coupon code, giving them the registration link with the coupon code, and asking them, hey, I invite you to sign up for this. You can sign up for free. And by the way, if you have any feedback for me about the page, I'd love to hear it. What's one thing you love about it? And what's one thing you might improve, right? One thing do you love about the page, and what's one thing you might improve? This is actually a really good tip for asking for feedback. Don't ask for feedback saying, hey, what do you think? Because that overwhelms people or makes them think I don't have time for this. But if you ask them, what's one thing I can improve on this? It gives people a sense like, oh, that's doable. And they might give you 3 things you can improve on it, right? Okay, and then here is the 10 days out is what I do for a webinar. I would say the first announcement can be anywhere between 5 to 14 days out, 5 to 14 days. And then the second, if you're going to send a second email announcement, I would say it's between, 2 to 7 days out. And then the third email announcement would be, 0 to 1 day out. When I mean 0, I mean, 6 hours in advance, something like that, or the day before, 24 hours before. So 3 emails, I think, is a good maximum to announce it to your list. Don't send more than 3. I personally send 2. I send 1 email saying, hey, it's available, sign up for it. And I send 1 more email to give them the opportunity to sign up last chance, right? So. Zoom question. After chatting privately and switching back to everyone, I see my chats are going out to everyone privately. No. If it says privately, it only went to that person. So if it didn't say privately, then it's in the main room. Okay. A question from Catherine. Thank you, Claire and Jason. Is there another way to find people outside of LinkedIn? Because if I'm not on LinkedIn. Okay, yes, let's talk about that. So let's go back to and after this question, I'm going to facilitate the partnering thing, which is going to be fun. I would go to google.com. Let's just go to google.com, and I would type in this, life coach in quotes, and then and newsletter. Press enter. Okay. So now Google has given me who are probably the top life coaches in terms of getting the most traffic from Google, who have a newsletter, who have an email newsletter. And so how many of them are there? 1.8 million. Like you'll never run out of people, right? So I would just basically start at the top. Now you might say, George, I don't want to approach somebody who's famous or who's popular and then they think less of me. So that no. If you are going to approach them the way that I have told you to approach them, you are already going to stand out as somebody special, somebody worth maybe getting in touch with in the future. Because, okay, so let's just take a look. This guy is a life coach apparently, and he has a newsletter. Abuse or 10 penny, blah, blah, blah. Why do I search newsletter? It's because if someone has an email newsletter, that means they're able to promote you on email. And they probably also have a social media presence. Oh, a third place to look, of course, is on Facebook. So I search life coach on Facebook. Okay, I press enter. I don't want to click on any results here. I just want to press enter or click the magnifying glass. And then I would click on pages. Okay, click on pages. And basically, Life Coach Diane has 1,000 likes. Not bad. This means that if she has 1,000 likes, she probably has, I don't know. She has somewhat of an email list, right? Val Nelson has 1,000 likes. There you go. Great. Linda Field, Life Coach, has 729,000 likes. So what that means is if you get together with Linda Field, Life Coach, and you do a joint venture, you do have her promote your thing, you could say, Linda, could I pay $100? Could I pay you $100 and for you to run to do a boosted post to your fans about my webinar? And you can just do like a $50 boosted post and keep the other $50 just for your inconvenience. Why not? I bet nobody is approaching Linda Field like that, seriously, with that kind of innovative idea. And I'll say this because I've been in my field for 10 years, almost 10 years, well, I guess 8 years. And I'm well known in certain circles. And rarely do I get an email about promoting something. And if I do get an email, it's thoughtless, like I've already mentioned, and it's not the right fit for my audience. They didn't really research the kind of content that I do. And really, seriously, like once a month, I might get one email asking me to promote something. I mean, it is truly astonishing. I still, like, I could be astonished for the rest of my life on this one point. Why aren't people reaching out to me? If people aren't reaching out to me, they're probably not reaching out to other people too. And it's just honestly astonishing to me. So anyway, okay. So let's now do a, Eric says they're scared of me. And they're scared of everybody else too. So nobody is approaching anybody because everyone's scared. You know, it's true. Nobody's reaching out to you, Eric, because they're scared of you. I mean, it's true for everybody. Everybody's getting scared. Everybody's scared. And here's the worst case scenario. You email someone and then you never hear back from them. Can you please nod with me? Are you okay if you email 25 people and nobody gets back to you? Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Maybe one person will say, please unsubscribe. You know, I don't know. But they didn't read your message, you know. Not a big deal. So please, I hope all of you will say, oh my God, nobody's doing this. I can do this, and I do it in a caring way. It's like, okay. Now let me do this here. I would like for you to chat in what webinar would you do for what audience? Go ahead and take a moment and chat this in now. I'll just let you do that first. Wow, Eric, awesome. That's incredible. That's you're getting better stats than me. That's great. Well, similar stats as me if it's warm leads, you know. Okay, but go ahead, chat in. What webinar would you do and for what audience? And for what audience meaning what type of describe the audience in a way where somebody who has that audience would go, hey, that's my audience. Great. Great. Yeah. Cool. Okay, somebody here needs to start a meditation virtual conference. We've got several people who can teach that. That's awesome. Okay, once you have typed in what yours is, go ahead and scroll up on the chat and see if you have an audience that someone else has named. Or if you have like a good friend who has an audience someone else has named. It's great. Okay. Now, great. Wonderful. Now, here's the second prompt. Just like we did with Jason Schneider, right? With his question, what type of partner, what type of blogger, what type of expert, what type of coach, what type of healer, what type of author, what type of business might be, hold on, so let me just put the prompt in. What type of business or expert might be, or blogger might be ideal to share your webinar with their audience? Go ahead and type that in, what your response is, just like we did with Jason earlier. Actually, earlier what we did was, yeah, no, that's what we did, yeah. Go ahead. Great. I love seeing those of you who are connecting with each other already. Great. And once you've typed yours in, scroll up and see if somebody has just named you or a friend of yours, like someone you could introduce that person to. And if someone has named you or a friend of yours, somebody you know, well, go ahead and type at and that person's name. Jason, it's good to talk with yourself. It is self-inquiry. Yeah, actually, we have two Jasons in here. So if you typed Jason earlier, be sure to clarify which one. Great. That's great, Sue. Mary, wonderful. Josh, great. That's great. Laura. There's this, I'll call it a miracle really, of joint ventures or collaborations, is that no matter how big or small one another's audience is, if the content is a good fit, okay, for that audience, I'm saying one way or both ways, it is almost certainly a win-win. Let me explain. In the extreme case of somebody with no audience, somebody has, Bob, Allison has 10 friends. Bob has 10 friends only. They have no email list, right? Allison introduces Bob to Allison's 10 friends. Some of Allison's friends go, wow, Bob is a cool guy. I'm going to start following Bob now. Now Bob has how many friends? 15 friends. Okay? You hear me? Bob says, hey, Allison, I'm going to introduce you to my audience as well. Bob introduces Allison. And now, assuming it's the right fit. Sometimes it's only right fit one way around. Sometimes it's the right fit both ways. So you just have to be more mindful about that. But let's say it was the right fit both ways. Bob introduces Allison, right? Now, some of Bob's friends likes Allison too. Now Allison has 17 friends. I don't know. You see, like both people won. Like both people now have more friends than they started with. Because what happens is Bob's friends don't know Allison in the beginning, but Bob says, hey, I like Allison for these 5 reasons or whatever it may be. I really like Allison. And so based on Bob's endorsement, it gives a really amazing shortcut to trusting Allison. It would have taken those friends much longer to discover Allison if it was just through social media. So this is why I just think it's so critical for all of us to start doing more collaborations or joint ventures or promotional partners, however you want to call it, strategic alliances, sometimes it's called. Affiliate marketing is kind of one way of saying it, but that's kind of a little bit different too. But this is what all of us ought to be doing, because we'll all end up with more friends. Again, assuming it's the right fit, right? Like, for example, I wouldn't promote anything to my audience that isn't about business or marketing, right? I wouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense because okay, let's just say this. Allison should not promote Bob. Just because Bob is promoting Allison, Allison might not promote Bob if Bob's content is not right for Allison's audience. Like, because what I mean by right is like, if Allison promotes Bob and Allison's audience goes, what? Well, Allison, you usually talk about topic XYZ and suddenly you're talking about topic K. What, that's kind of weird. It doesn't make sense. But so I really encourage you to, okay, so let's just say that Allison promotes Bob, right? But Bob can't promote Allison. So what do we say there? Does Allison lose because Bob can't promote her? I don't think so. Because hear me out. Allison has 10 friends. Allison thinks, oh, Bob, your thing is so good for me, for my audience. It makes a lot of sense for me to talk to my audience about this. I don't talk about it, but you can. So let me promote you. Allison's 10 friends get the benefit of Bob's knowledge and Bob's webinar. Guess what? Bob now has more friends. Allison now has friends that like her more because her friends go, Allison isn't just talking about her own stuff. She also brings cool resources to me as well. Allison, I like you. So even if Bob doesn't promote Allison, Allison has still won. As long as the content is the right fit. Not if you're understanding me. So even if it's not a cross promotion, both parties still win. And as long as the audit content's the right fit. Okay, so anyway, if you want to save the chat, because I'll get it to you soon, but if you want to save it sooner, you can actually click the More button in the chat box right now and click Save Chat. Oh, actually, here's what we can do. Go ahead and put your email address in the chat if you want people to get in touch with you. Okay, great. Okay, now, those of you who want to save the chat, you can click on the More button inside the chat and click Save Chat. And this should put a file on your desktop. Did that work for people? By the way, I've never done that from a participant side. Are you able to save the chat on the document? Okay, great. Okay, thanks. All right, folks, I hope this was useful. Let me know if this was useful. I love to always get, okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, I'll just unmute the line and you can all hear each other's voice as we head out into the world and be reaching out to others and be more caring when we reach out to others. You're going to make a difference just by doing that, because I can tell you most people are not caring or thoughtful when they reach out. So, all right.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
But you can also look at Warren Buffett. He really enjoyed doing the stocks. It isn't for him about money because he lives very plainly, actually.